we're talking about the effect of rape on education. In the United States, 1 in every 6 women have been either raped or were attempted to be raped, though these are just the cases that have been reported, and there are still many suffering in silence. A case that can be seen is in Steubenville, Ohio, in which a high school girl was raped by her peers while they posted it on various social media platforms. She then later fell into depression and disconnected not only from her schooling, her family, and her peers. When taking a look locally at how we can see this right here in Florida, there's roughly 1,266,000 cases of rape that have been reported so far, but these numbers are on a staggering increase. When looking on a larger scale globally on how we can see rape and its effect, South Africa has the largest amount of rape cases and crimes globally, with an estimated more than 40% of their women population going to be raped in their lifetime. Similarly, 1 in 4 men have reported raping a woman in their lifetime. This does not include those men who have reported multiple women. With this in mind, it led my group and I to the question: what is the best solution to aid the effects of rape in young adults? With such a large topic at hand with a lot of research, we decided to break it down into 3 subtopics: social, medical, and my aspect, education. Now, when looking at how the victim is affected socially, we can see that these victims tend to isolate themselves and they tend to break off any long-term relationships between both romantically and platonically. Additionally, these victims tend to lose trust in people and causing them to further isolate themselves. And not only that, will they further isolate themselves, but it will also cause harm between their relationship with their family. Now, when taking a look medically on how victims are affected, we can see that victims both suffer in the long term and short term. Short-term effects include bruises and broken bones, while long-term effects aren't seen so visibly. They include sexually transmitted diseases and infections, and even pregnancy. Now, there's not only just physical effects that can happen to these victims, rather there are emotional effects too. These victims can end up with paranoia, PTSD, and even suicidal inclinations, though these are just a few of the numerous effects that can happen to these victims medically. Finally comes my aspect. I will be covering the effect rape has on education. So victims of this crime tend to lose interest. Victims of this crime tend to lose interest and tend to do worse in general when speaking in school terms. Their education is impacted severely and they tend to either move away or tend to change their learning path. It has been researched that 60% of those who are raped have found it difficult to concentrate in class. Now, when taking a look at how sexual assault can be seen on both college campuses and university campuses, victims of this tend to lose interest in school and tend to isolate themselves. According to RAIN, which is the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, sexual violence is more prevalent at colleges and universities than any other crime. The first 6 weeks of college and university are considered red zones. What red zones means is that these are when, statistically speaking, there is the highest number of sexual crimes, including rape, to victims on campus. When looking on the campuses and how high these numbers are, 1 in every 5 women have been raped on campus. Many of these victims are raped by someone they know, whether it's a fellow peer or a school administrator. This causes them to associate the crime with the school, causing them to further lose interest in it. Now, when taking a look at how India is affected, school-wise, we can see 1/4 of their population of women on campuses tend to get raped by an intimate partner. Similarly, in Brazil, there's a research done that investigated how PTSD of victims who've been sexually assaulted, specifically raped, it affects the victim's schooling. Those who have PTSD are at a higher risk of dropping out of school and letting their grades slip. Specifically in Africa, which has the highest numbers of rape cases. Specifically in Africa, which has the highest number of rape cases this can be seen. In Africa, a research was done that concluded that 40% of the male population and 50% of the female population felt that they were highly likely to get raped while on campus. Now we're taking a look specifically at Uganda, in which a student of Makere University, Rachel Niger, was raped by her university administrator. Rachel found it difficult to concentrate in school after this incident, and her grades began to slip. She lost severe disinterest in school. Now, on the other side of the world, in the UK, there is the rape crisis in England and Wales, in which this crisis has affected a large majority of the young adults pursuing an education. Many of these victims claim that they feel as if their case has just been pushed aside and is not of any importance to anyone. On another note, many young adults are unable to receive the proper education, and it causes this endless cycle of poverty. And these young adults do not receive the proper education to keep going. Now, when taking a look at what solutions are already set in place, both globally and locally, we can see the CARE organization, which is an organization that works in 93 different countries across the globe and works to empower women, and specifically women in poverty-stricken countries. Additionally, we also have the RAIN organization, which, as previously mentioned, is the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, which, much like the CARE organization, works to empower women to speak out. It's an anti-sexual organization. This organization works in various countries, much like the CARE one. Then we have the No Means No organization, which works to educate both boys and girls on rape and the myths associated. Now, when taking a look at what organizations are here locally, we have the Florida Council Against Sexual Violence, which, much like the organization, works to help victims voice their experience. Then we have the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, which provides various resources for the victims of rape across the country. My innovative solution would be to create an application that would connect these victims to a mental health specialist. These mental health specialists will be able to further connect these victims to the proper resources, including police, doctors, and medicine. You never know what's going on in someone's life, so we must stand up for those who can't voice their pain. I'd like to leave you guys with a quote. Our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about things that matter. Martin Luther King.